So today we're working on a little handheld leaf blower. The brand is Poulan Pro bvm200, and today we're going to be basically going over this little issue and actually rating this blower, which to me, I would not buy it, I would not recommend it. It's one of the worst blowers brands that me ever come across. So the other day someone asked me if you take a look at it. They said it was running and then it just shut off in the middle of being used. So knowing that these brands, you can see them online, they have a whole bunch of issues. A lot of people have problems with them, and to me, they're not worth the money. So we're going to go over some things that you can check to see if it's worth fixing or if it's too far gone. But I'm going to give you a little how to check different little areas on this. So first thing first, they said this is a Poulan Pro bvm200. On the side of the blower you have all of your serial numbers and your manufacturer sticker. So for the most part, it's not too heavy. You have a hand blower, very simple. You have your on and off, you have your start, run, your choke and your run, and then you have a gas tank, not too big. The fuel mixture is 41, so you have to be real careful with that, because these, for some reason, the internals that they use is not too forgiving when it comes to the gas mixture. So that can cause a lot of issues for these, because I guess that's how they make them. They're not too forgiving at all. So here you have your carburetor, and a lot of times you will find on these from the manufacturer, these lines are very cheap and they break down in a couple of months. This person haven't even had this blower for more than a year, I would say. So first thing first, if you have a crank no start issue, or if you put this blower down or any blower for a certain amount of time, you want to definitely check your gas lines, make sure there's no problem with them. And inside this tank you have your gas hose that basically sits in the bottom of the tank, and it basically has that filter on it that sucks up the gas, but that filter can become clogged, or the actual gas hose that's inside of this can also get eaten off or broken away, and you will never know. So definitely check that first if you have a starting issue. And then also remember to check your lines. When you're using your priming bulb, you should see gas being sent up, and also little bubbles of it sending to the through the return hose. So if you know that is happening, that basically that rules out certain parts of your carburetor, but not completely, because if you have been letting it sit for a couple of months or so, you have to remember now all this ethanol fuel or so, it basically clogs up. Inside of this you have a little filter screen that can get clogged up, and if it is clogged up, you have to take it apart and rebuild it. If you like me, where you don't have a lot of time or have a lot of interest in rebuilding these small minute components, just buy a new carburetor for Amazon, eBay, so it might come up to $20 to $30, no more than that, depending on where you buy it from. Back here you have your air filter. To remove that, you basically, forgive me, only have one hand, so you release these tabs on the side, release that, clip it in, and it comes right off, and here's your filter. So as you can see, just a little piece of foam. So another easy way, if you have been letting your machine sit down for a while or so, you remove that filter, or if you want to, you remove the spark plug and pour your gas mixture right into the chamber. You're going to need a 19mm for this spark plug, but if you do choose to pour it in by the carburetor, you just dab just a little bit. Don't go too crazy, because you might vapor lock it. So I would say about a teaspoonful of your gas mixture should do fine. And then after that, on the side here you have all of your starting instructions. So with this being on, you basically put it to the start position. You will hit your primer button 6 times as it says here. Then you would basically put it to run, and then you hold your lever down and start cranking it. It might take a good amount of time if the blower has been sitting for a while, so be ready for a long haul. So if it still doesn't start, there are three things to make a basic engine start: air, fuel, spark. So you want to go ahead and check all of that. As I say, first thing first, most of the time the carburetor is clogged up if it's been sitting down or so you definitely want to take this apart or replace it, whichever you choose to do. If you know everything is good with your carburetor, second easiest thing is, I would say, air. You just make sure your air filter is clean, there's no debris or dirt in here, so you can suck proper air. So if you know that's good, next thing you go is your spark plug, and you can get one from any local auto store or Ace or anything like that. They have what is known as a spark tester, and basically what you would do is remove the wire and you basically hook it to here, and then you just ground it to any part of the engine block itself. And what you're looking for is a clean blue arc, and the manufacturer specs give you what gap the spark should be able to jump, and if it's jumping the gap without no problem every pull, then you know your problem is not spark. And it was neither one of these for this blower. It wasn't a carb, it wasn't air, and it wasn't spark. All those things were good. So next thing that I remember, being that these are so sensitive to the type of gas mixture that it gets, you want to actually check compression. And that was the issue with this blower itself, compression. If you have a compression tester, that's all nice and handy. You can buy one for about $15 to $60 depending on how many attachments or features you want to do. I would say you just need a basic one. You can go to Advance or AutoZone or Napa, any one of those auto stores, and rent a tool. But I found that the compression on this was very low and it wasn't consistent. So another thing you can do is put a little, I use transmission oil because it's a detergent and it isn't as harmful as regular motor oil on these small motors. So what you do is basically put your transmission fluid or whatever kind of oil you use and put it in here, and see when you use your compression tester if the compression ratio actually increases. But with this, I found that when I put the fluid in here to check the wet compression, the fluid would just automatically just run down. And here, right here, is your piston cover, and to remove that you need this little bit. It's a T, let me see if the camera can focus on it right there, T25 star, and it's the same that you would use to remove this cover, which when it on basically sits like that. You have 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3, and then same thing for this. So for them saving time, I have my little drill. So this plastic piece comes right off. Be careful to put it back right in the same place. It has an O-ring right there, so be careful not to crimp that or damage that. So in here, as you can see, you have the bottom of your small piston. You should be able to move it by hand, but it should not be as loose as this. I'm barely touching it and it's just moving like crazy. So seeing in here, as you can see, there's a lot of heat damage, and that's a clear sign that this engine has been basically overheated and damaged. And then to basically verify that it doesn't have compression, you remove your exhaust, which is held by some hex bolts, as you can see. So whatever you have, this is what I use. So you remove the exhaust, and that gives you access to look down into the side of the actual piston. And as you can see, that piston is done. It's all heat scorned, the sides are black, burnt. It's basically done. So this means your piston ring is done as well. It's allowing gas and everything that's basically supposed to combust is just blowing by and ending up in the bottom of here. And the first time I took this cover off, there was gas and all kind of metal sitting in the bottom of this chamber right here. So basically that tells you the engine is done. It's not worth repairing. Some people like to repair, get the new piston, get the new rings and everything, but me, it's not worth the trouble. So as you can see, the piston, the surface, the inside chamber, all of it is scorned. So you might as well just replace the whole unit. Just buy yourself a new blower. Me myself, I would not recommend this brand. I would say if you really want something decent, go with Still, Echo. Husqvarna is a little bit better. I wouldn't really recommend that one either. I'm going to make another video about one of the blowers I have, but the Poulan brand, I would say, is not that good of a brand from my experience, and to me it's not worth fixing or purchasing. And as you can see again, at the bottom right here is the bottom of your piston, and as you can see, all of that is just burnt to hell. So in my opinion, don't waste your money. Buy a good brand, spend the money where you know it's going to last, and you don't have to worry about stuff like this. So until next time.